What is up, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Our 60 Journey. My name is Lucas, and I'm here to help us build healthy relationships. It's been a while since I made a video. I'll be honest, I'm one of those people that I'm a complete introvert, which is ironic because I get labeled as an extrovert so often, and I recently had a conversation with someone this last week about how I actually am an introvert, and even though I have all these expressions, if there weren't people or jobs or money, I would probably stay in my house all the time and never leave. But we have to go out and make money. We have to go out and build relationships. We have to go out and actually, engage with people. And I've been making some notes on my phone about things that I want to bring to YouTube. And I think the one I'm going to pick today is how identity can fail you. So, when I was growing up, I found myself very often labeling myself as the victim, having a "oh, poor is me" mentality. And hear me correctly. I still struggle with times of wanting to play the victim and wanting to be, treated differently because of my identity. And for me, it was identifying myself as a homosexual. It was going, well, because I was a homosexual, I've been picked on my whole life, and I've been segregated from because there are certain sects of society that don't approve of me and that don't support me because of my identity. And at some point, I was holding on to that identity so strongly that I ended up actually repelling people away. There were moments that people would approach me, whether it be to be you'll forgive my cat, she has kittens, and she is she's talking to her kittens right now. People would approach me, and because of my past experiences with especially masculine men, that I would end up pushing them away and assuming that when they approached me, they were only there to hurt me and to cause further damage of the issues I was already having. I was feeling abandoned by society. I was feeling like I wasn't enough. I was questioning myself at all times because I was really focusing on the fact that I'm a gay man and I've been treated poorly and all people are bad. And anytime certain people approach me, I need to put up shields. And this happens a lot with dogs, where say a dog is in a home for the first 6 months to a year of their life and they're abused regularly by say a man wearing a hat. Well, then from that moment forward, every single time that dog sees a tall man in a hat, the dog either cowers in the corner or he gets mad and fights back, right? There's that response energy because the dog was living in fear. And there's a lot of energy passing around the world, and there's the specific Black Lives Matter movement right now that's happening, but outside of the Black Lives Matter, that energy of feeling segregated from society and feeling isolated and feeling not treated correctly, that energy, from what I understand, has popped up in everyone. All of our relationships at some point have abandoned us. It's almost like how, I'm sort of giving up loads of examples, aren't I? It's like a woman dating 3 men in a row. All 3 of these men neglect her, abuse her, cheat on her, take from her money, they have mistreated. And then at some point she decides, you know what, I'm not going to date anymore. All men are bastards. And my biggest thing is that I work so hard to remember that every person I have yet to meet doesn't deserve to be judged for people I already have met. And all the people that I have met probably don't deserve to be judged for what happened to me when I was with them, because people do grow. We're all going through our own set of trauma when it comes to how we respond to certain types of people. We all have our own prejudice and bigoted ideas about certain groups of people. And it's only through our willingness to zoom out of the picture and go, wait a minute, has this person grown and become something better? Have I forgiven them for what it is they did to me? And am I willing to bring that person back into my life? Because it's so easy, and I know this because I've done it, it's so easy to label people and to go, well, he's a jackass and a thief and he's abusive. And then you run into them 10 years later and they're with a new person. Okay, they're with a new person, they have a new partner. And when we see them, we want to label them as, well, if only that girl knew what she's getting herself into. He's a thief, he's a liar, he's a cheater. Well, maybe that was just one part of his life. And maybe that's gone. And maybe now all that's happening is that we're holding on to a grudge based on something someone did to us. And I'll be honest, like, if I was to hold a grudge against every person that ever wronged me, I probably wouldn't have a lot of the people that are in my life right now. My best friend, we've been friends for 8 years. We have gone through a lot in 8 years. And even though I've reached some of my max moments of mad, I still actively forgive. And I actively say, you know what, I'm going to give you grace right now because there's something about you and about I that has not reached stasis yet. We haven't found balance. We haven't learned to fully, harmonize. And you let it go. And you do it again. And this happens, there's another friend in my life right now who, over the last year, has consistently rubbed me the wrong way. Where it's almost like a disrespecting of feelings. Where it's going, this is my boundary, this is how I feel, and don't do this to me. But on the inside, if we look past the physical action they're doing, which might just be a habit, they might just be saying things out of habit, doing things out of habit, and we see underneath all of that into their inner core of who they are, maybe that person is good for you. And maybe we need to have the patience and the energy to step back and go, this is moving towards a better place. And that's where intuition comes in. But my issue is identification. Whether it's self-identification or external identification of the other selves around you, as soon as we identify anything that is basically an adjective to describe someone and then label that person or that group of people as all blank, we're no longer living in peace. We are no longer living in love. We are no longer living from a place of grace and compassion. And that's the biggest struggle. It really is the biggest struggle, is to take what it is that happens to us and go, I'm not necessarily happy that this thing happened to me. However, I am happy that I learned a lesson from it. I am happy that I gained blank from it. I am happy that, and it's about finding that silver lining, because that silver lining is really what brings us joy and what brings us peace. And none of this is meant to be political. I'm not a political person. I'm just not. I've tried. But there's just so much going on in the political arena that it's really hard to keep up with and still have a life. Because then if we're attaching to it all the time, then we're talking about it all the time, and it's just ding all the time. And there are people that are like that, and that's okay. I totally love them. I'm glad they're here. Thank you. And I think what happens too a lot is that we think that by deflecting them or deflecting even internal parts of ourselves that we don't want to admit are there, by ignoring it and letting it go unchecked, that energy will actually begin to replicate and get bigger. And I was trying to tell a person last night, if you have an issue with yourself and it's right here, and you are always turning away from it and looking away going, oh, I'm not like that, I'm not like that, I'm not like that, that over there is growing. It's like any other seed. It is growing and creating energy, and it's building an aura around itself that's now part of your aura. It's something that is either lifting you up or dragging behind you. And the only way to deal with that energy is to look at it. Look at it. See what it is. Recognize that it's part of you. And there's something about this that's here for a reason. And there was a thought process. Maybe it was a lesson unlearned long ago. Maybe it is part of ourselves that we deny, that we end up not feeding, and we end up overfeeding something else. And that's why identification is so dangerous. Is because identification leads to replication of an issue that we do not want in our lives. And in all these heated pressed times, my response is identify with the internal part of the self that feels for people, that says that we all deserve to be treated equally, that we all deserve to move forward into our lives of equality. It's not about playing catch up. And that's a big issue, one that I've faced too. People do it like in legal accidents, where they're like, well, I want pain and suffering. And when it's active, sure, get pain and suffering for the energy you put out. But when it's long since gone, let the energy die out. Just let it die out. Take the advantage opportunity of this moment to brighten the future, to go into something better. And so, identity can fail you. Identity can fail them. Identity can fail us. Do not segregate. Do not isolate. Encompass. Encompass the energy. All right. That's all I got today. You guys have a great day. I might make several videos in the same outfit and then release them slowly. See you guys later!